The Orlando Magic have officially done it. They have signed Mac McClung to a two-way contract. Today we're going to be talking about what impact that has on his career, how right you guys were in the comments on my last video about Mac McClung, and what this could potentially mean for the Orlando Magic going forward. But first, guys, if you haven't noticed, I'm in a little bit of a different spot, a little bit of a different situation here. I'm trying to get out the quickest and best Magic content and news for you guys. So you're going to have to bear with me a little bit, but we're going to be talking about everything Mac McClung. So make sure to subscribe. Join the Magic Digest family here on YouTube. Trying to build an Orlando Magic basketball community, and we are about 3 days away from tip-off for the NBA season, so I absolutely cannot wait, and that does mean that these deals are going to start happening. We're just going to start learning a lot more about the Orlando Magic. This dropped from Shams just about an hour or an hour and a half ago. After going through the preseason with the Orlando Magic, two-time slam dunk champ Mac McClung is staying with the team for the start of the regular season. He's getting that two-way contract after he spent last season with the G League affiliate and where he won MVP for the G League affiliate, the Osceola Magic. Guys, he put up about 25 points per game last year and was pretty much the best and most dominant player in the G League. When we went over the last handful of G League MVPs in my last video talking about Mac McClung, there wasn't exactly a very impressive list. When we looked at it, it wasn't a list of guys who had made a career for themselves in the NBA, and it kind of makes sense because those guys, if they are truly good enough, would get called up and wouldn't be able to complete a season. But for some reason, Mac McClung just has not been able to stick with any sort of NBA franchise, and that's absolutely no hate to him. It is just sometimes how it ends up going. It's tough to stick around in the NBA, but it seems like he has found a place that really believes in him in the Orlando Magic. So that is really nice to see. He gets the second to last two-way deal on the Orlando Magic, so they'll have to figure out exactly what they are going to do with that deal. There's a few things that could be remaining, but let's take a look at, before we get into who could that potentially be, let's take a look at kind of his journey, how he got here. Obviously, back-to-back slam dunk contest champion. Hasn't been able to get a consistent roster spot. Played in 4 career NBA games with the Lakers, Bulls, and 76ers. With the 76ers locked in their playoff spot in 2022-23, McClung really made a name for himself. He got 33 minutes in the regular season finale and total 20 points, 9 boards, and 9 assists. Then obviously last year, G League MVP, 25.7 points per game. He's shown on an NBA stage and on the G League stage that he can play and match up to some of the best players in the NBA. And let's take a look at his preseason history and what he did for the Orlando Magic last preseason and this preseason. This year, not too much, and it's 4 points per game, and he didn't really get a ton of minutes, so just about 7.5 minutes per game, but you kind of saw flashes. You can see that he's offensively there, at least on that side of the court. I mean, he's very good defensively as well. You feel like he's very athletic and can hold his own. But we've seen just over the years him getting better, the efficiency being there, and in the very, very small sample size that guys like Mac McClung are going to get in an NBA preseason, handful of games, NBA preseason run, he's honestly done his job. And when we take a look at these numbers, they're not going to jump out to you, but having that context and then knowing that he's going to be there throughout training camp is obviously the big sign that he is ready for the next step and for consistent play time in the NBA. So you got to love to see it, and Mac McClung certainly earned getting that spot with the Orlando Magic. Now, when we take a look at Orlando as a whole and on their team, they have a ton of guards. So I don't know the exact impact that he's going to play unless an injury happens. And obviously, we don't want injury to happen, but this team pretty much brings back all of their guards from last year except for Markelle Fultz, and they also bring in Corey Joseph. So we're kind of looking at it from a perspective of this is a depth move, and this guy was too talented to not keep on the roster kind of move. And honestly, I don't really think that that's a terrible way to go about things. I don't really think that that's an awful game plan whatsoever. I think that that is something that is smart, especially considering the Orlando Magic and their history with injuries, even with the young guys. You have to be realistic and say, hey, look, some of these guys might get hurt. So let's have a guy who is actually pretty underrated, can score the ball, can create some sort of offense, and at the end of the day, he's super athletic, and you just know that, and he can play on an NBA team. So he's going to get a real shot as a two-way guy. And honestly, I know a lot of people have said this, that it might not be the best place ever for him to land on the Magic, but I will say it's a very realistic chance that he ends up playing plenty of minutes for the Orlando Magic this season. Now, obviously, looking at the rest of the year, Trevelyan Queen got his two-way deal pretty early after different stuff in free agency, and he was able to knock that down. So he is the other player that is getting a two-way contract with the Orlando Magic. Mac McClung joins him. Right now, that last spot is open, and we will have to see who that ends up being. There were a slew of, unfortunately, waivers, so guys who will not be considered for that last two-way spot today. After the Orlando Magic converted Mac McClung's training camp deal to a two-way contract, the Orlando Magic waived Jarrett Culver, Ethan Thompson, Jalen Slauson, and Alex Morales. Those four players will likely join the G League team in Osceola for the 2024-25 NBA season, and the Magic still have one spot remaining. So guys, the question in today's video is going to be, who do you think that will be? And I read your guys' comments. I did want to say this. I did want to spotlight the different things that you guys have mentioned and said to me over in the past video. This is all stuff that I agree with, and I just want to have just want to show you guys that, hey, look, I'm watching, okay? And this is absolutely one of the more invigorating two-way signings that you could possibly have in the NBA. If the Magic want to win, fill seats, get high TV ratings, and sell a lot of merch, they need to sign Mac McClung. I should have signed him 2 years ago, essentially. Mac or mini LeBron, Mac all day. Yeah, okay, maybe, maybe not. I mean, I'm sure there's some sorts of comparisons to him and Bronny James, but, you know, we're not going to go that far. But guy's a superstar. He's the best player out there, in my opinion. He probably was the best player in training camp as far as those two-way guys. As far as what we've seen and him not just exploding onto the scene in one of the preseason games and getting signed, well, it shows that his training camp was probably pretty huge. I think spending training camp with Jalen Suggs will be hugely beneficial for Mac. Says one of you guys. He'll be able to observe a top-tier defender, and that will be a great motivator. Once he proves himself as a defender and secondarily as a passer, he'll have a shot in the NBA. Well, it looks like he's definitely going to get it. And I will say, if he can develop that passing, I wouldn't be surprised whatsoever if he's not a rotational player for the Orlando Magic, because as of the roster construction right now, we do not have a pass-first point guard on the team, and that will definitely help the Orlando Magic, and that is something that you want in one of your two-way guys. He is the only player out there I care to watch, to be honest. Honestly, that is completely fair, because when you're looking at the preseason or when you're looking at anybody as far as the training camp highlights, you're probably not exactly looking at anybody outside of Paolo Banchero. Is Franz hitting his threes? And then for the most part, is everybody healthy? And then I think you're looking at Mac. So I kind of agree. This is a slap in the face. I swear they are just toying with Mac, and it's just complete BS. He is more than good enough to be in the NBA. I think we all know why he's not in the league. Now, guys, I've seen this comment a few different times. I don't really know if I buy too much into that conspiracy stuff about whether or not, he's not in the league for certain reasons. I don't really want to get too much into, but he's now officially going to be that two-way guy, and that's really great for Mac. Let me know who you guys think in the comments below is going to be that next player, and sound off on your opinions about Mac being a two-way guy. Obviously, he's not going to be the most impactful signing, I would say, for the Magic's final record this season, or if they can get to the Eastern Conference Finals, get Paolo's goals checked off, but it's certainly one that I think is a very good signing, necessary signing, and you probably saw this coming a long time from now. But that's all the time I have for you guys today with the Orlando Magic basketball news. I will see you guys next time, hopefully with Jalen Suggs' contract confirmation. We'll talk about that coming up over the next few days. If not, it'll be a very sad video, very sad, unfortunate life that we all live if they don't get it by the deadline in a couple days. But otherwise, Magic basketball right around the corner. I'll see you guys when any of that occurs.